2020 campaign. Erin, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
A lot to get to. Very busy news week, as I'm sure you are fully aware. I want to first start on the economy. Iowa is a big state that has to do with the economy. A lot of people, blue-collar workers. What are you hearing from them, and how is the president's message resonating with them?
The president's message is perfect here in Iowa because it's promises made, promises kept, especially with the signing of USMCA, a historic trade deal. That's going to be a direct benefit to Iowa. You know, President Obama said you're going to need a magic wand to bring those manufacturing jobs back. They lost 22,000 manufacturing jobs, and they've brought in almost 10,000 under President Trump. I mean, the contrast couldn't be clearer. And with USMCA, that means Iowa's farmers and ranchers are going to have increased markets to be able to get things out and to export their goods. So we're very excited about being able to share the message in Iowa.
Now, for the typical Iowa voter who maybe is a swing voter, what's the Trump campaign's message to them as to why Trump is their best candidate?
Well, I think, again, it goes to promises made and promises kept. What were promises by then candidate Trump are now real deliverable items. We're talking about a booming economy. We're talking about record growth. Remember, President Obama not only said those jobs were never coming back, but that we expected a GDP at 1% always. You got to get used to this new normal. President Trump didn't accept that. He never accepted that. We've seen at least double that growth since with last year's GDP numbers that just came out. So that's growth domestic product. That's our ability to grow as an economy. That means more jobs and more opportunities. We talk about the over 7 million jobs created by President Trump. There is no better fighter for America, for folks in the Hawkeye state, than President Trump, and the record shows that.
Yeah. Now, as you mentioned, the USMCA historic trade deal was signed yesterday. Does that help Iowa voters?
Oh, the USMCA is a boon for Iowa and for Iowa voters. They know. Everybody said, President Trump, you can't do this. You can't renegotiate NAFTA. You can't do this. And he said, no, I can do it and I can make it better. And so what he has done is he has made this a 21st century trade deal, a deal that will make sure that the United States' top two trading partners in Canada and Mexico, and specifically the $6 billion of the Iowa economy that are reliant on trading with Canada and Mexico, are protected and have the ability to grow. We're talking about removing barriers for dairy farmers to be able to get their products up to Canada, increase trade all across the board. I mean, it's great for Iowa and for Iowa voters.
Now, transitioning over to the impeachment, we are right in the heat of it. It has now moved to the Senate. How is the campaign handling this?
Well, we've had a lot of practice with this kind of attacks from the Democrats. They've been doing it the entire time that President Trump has been in office. So we're taking it day by day. We're getting the facts out there. We're talking about the fact that the basis of this impeachment is false. This is a hoax. This is a partisan witch hunt to try and remove a duly elected president. Democrats know they can't beat President Trump at the ballot box. They've admitted it themselves. They said, if we don't impeach him, he'll win again. Well, you know what? That's what the American people want. They want President Trump to win again. That's why his support is at record high numbers. So we will continue to get the facts out there and push back against Democrats. Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff have no chance whatsoever against the president's juggernaut on the Senate floor.
Now, we've seen this. We've been in this for months now. How has the campaign's support increased? Have donations increased? What are you hearing from swing voters who may be, turned away and dissuaded from this impeachment hoax?
I think that these rallies are a great indication of our support. When we were in Milwaukee just the other week, we saw that almost 58% of registrants were not Republicans. And just the other day in New Jersey, we saw that almost a quarter of the registrants were Democrats. That's what we see. More people are coming into the fold. We always bring in more money. Every time Nancy Pelosi took a further step toward trying to impeach the president, more money came in. When she started, we brought in $15 million in 72 hours. The support increases because Americans are sick and tired of Democrats being sore losers. They want them to get off their cans and do the work for the American people so that America can move forward and not be stuck. And there was just a great Gallup poll that showed that on all these major indicators, Americans think that they're in better shape under President Trump than they were under President Obama. The economy, race, religious liberties and freedoms. They feel better under President Trump than they did Obama. So that's what's at stake here. Those freedoms, that opportunity, this economy, this America, this is what's at stake in this election. We cannot go back.
Now, we've heard a lot from the Democratic candidates and their campaigns that their campaigns are very grassroots. I take that as their campaigns being small. Is the Trump campaign seeing a growth in grassroots support, small dollar donations, new voters?
Well, generally speaking, over 90% of our donations, quarter to quarter, are from small dollar donors. This is a campaign supported by Americans. Every time we see our fundraising numbers go up, it's because of average Americans who say they take their hard-earned paycheck and they say, I want to support this president and put my money behind him. And we have grassroots support. We have supporters out there. We are training volunteers. We're registering voters. This is a ground-up game, and we are excited. And Iowa is a great opportunity for us to kind of flex that organizational muscle a little and show Democrats what they're up against.
Now, you brought up New Jersey. We were there, record-breaking rally for the Trump campaign, over 150,000 ticket requests. What kind of data did the campaign gather from that in such a deep blue state?
What we were able to see coming out of New Jersey is our ability to really penetrate the tri-state area, our ability to have voters who are not registered voters. These are people that show up. Some of these registrants are not registered voters, so we can do voter registration at these events. And these are people that can show up on election day for the president who have maybe not voted before. That's huge for us. And in a blue state like New Jersey, that matters. And it matters in a seat like Jeff Van Drew's as well. So we take all that rally data and we use it. We want these Thursday rally goers to be our Saturday volunteers. So we keep engaging them. We keep asking them to participate. That's the grassroots. That's the ground game. And that's the difference we see here on the Trump campaign.
Was the campaign expecting such a huge turnout in New Jersey? I mean, 150,000 people, that's a ton. Were y'all expecting that?
Well, we're never surprised when President Trump breaks any record that anybody ever sets. The overflow crowd was huge. We had like 2 separate overflow crowds out there. I mean, it's really exciting to see what Americans, do when their president comes to town. We see it in blue states, we see it in purple states, we see it in red states. When the president comes to town, people get excited and they want to be there because they feel like for the first time in a long time, they have a voice in Washington.
Now, pivoting to Iowa here, back again, the campaign did a Women for Trump bus tour just a few weeks ago. What kind of response did you see there?
The Women for Trump bus tour the other week was a huge success for the campaign, not only because we got to share the message of the campaign, but because we were out all across Iowa with our top campaign folks. We had Laura Trump, Mercedes Schlapp, and Kayleigh McEnany out there talking about what President Trump has done for women, for families, and for Iowans to make a difference. They got to talk to moms like themselves. They got to talk to families like themselves. The response was huge for the campaign. These are people who are excited. Women have the best economy they've ever had because of President Trump, and it was great to be able to share that message.
A lot of their crowds had more attendees than some of these Democratic candidates. Are any of the Democrats here in Iowa, they're campaigning hard for Monday's caucus, any concern to the campaign whatsoever?
We have no concern whatsoever about the Democrats, but we're not taking any vote for granted. We will fight hard. Our Monday show, where we will be sending out over 80 surrogates across the state of Iowa to campaign and to canvass and to caucus for the president, what they will be doing is just the tip of the spear for Democrats to get a little preview of what they're up against on the March to November 3rd, 2020. We are a well-organized juggernaut of a campaign, and we are ready to fight to win again in November.
Now, last question. We've seen a lot of young people turn out for these events. There's somebody voting for the first time this election, just turned 18, they're undecided. What would you say to this new young voter?
To the young voters, to the people who get their first chance to vote and are maybe considering casting a vote for President Trump, I say do it. It may feel like you're taking a chance, but he takes a chance on America every day, and that's always paying off. They have the best economy, the best opportunity to get a good job, more freedom, more opportunity, bigger paychecks because of President Trump. At the end of the day, everybody wants a chance in America. The best chance you can take is to vote for President Trump.
Fantastic. Well, Erin, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure. We will see you at the next rally, and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone so much for joining us and tuning into this interview. We will be back in just a moment with more rally coverage here from Des Moines. Thank you so much. Yep.